Hello, everyone. Welcome back with me, Chris E. Let me just make it online on Instagram. And here we go. Okay. Welcome back once again. Welcome back with me, Chris E from Sydney, Australia. Uh in my weekly topics of about business, building a business, and all the topics related of building businesses. And this is also my platform to actually share my journey in building up my network marketing business. So but this is not limited to just the network marketing business. So the principle applies to any businesses, and even from my point of view applies to personal life also, even personal finance. So in this on this weekly life, I usually share about my uh, my learning so far on building a business, where my background is actually as an accountant, business coach. Not perfect, but I'm building to be better, to be and growing it. So yeah, let's dwell into tonight's topic. I have a very topic that I'm really passionate about knowing your personality, knowing your characters, because this is from my point of view, one of the fundamentals of which you need to be aware of, and you need to be aware of who you are, how you do things in life, and in there you will need strategy to actually to apply in your life. And thus, doing this, knowing your characters, your personality is really important, blah 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 blah. Now, um yeah, so knowing your personality, why is it important? Because if you there are so many, from my experience, there are so many personality tests out there that you can do to actually know yourself. There are different types. Like, in the past, we know everything about, the one that's showing you whether you're a sanguine person, melancholic person, phlegmatic person, or choleric person, right? So if we uh if we use, that's actually the one that most common in the past that I've known originally. And but what what this is actually called is a temperament type, your temperament types. Now, every personality test focuses on the different things. There are other things, there are another one also that are focuses on uh, characteristics of you, like DISC, for example. And DISC is more about whether you are a detailed person, stable person, intimate person, or uh, I think C is concise. Let me check just to make sure that I give you the proper conscientious. Yeah, conscientious. So conscientious means, you're a detailed person, right? So D is dominance, influence, S for steadiness, and C for conscientiousness. Okay, so but The problem I have in the past, although the test is good, is not necessarily, I'm not saying that it's not good, okay? But the problem I have with those tests is that I cannot see how, in the business environment, in the life environment, how should you complement each other to create teams, to create groups, a, a good, a good or performing groups. So I can't really put down, on how to practically implement this. I know with the temperament tests, I know that I am a sanguine and choleric person. It means I'm very chatty, I'm very social, but I'm a choleric. It means I'm a very straightforward also, like, I'm a choleric means, you're a very strong person, very outspoken also. But that's that's for me to learn about my characters, my temperaments, but and learn about other people's temperament. But I don't know whether, how to apply these temperament types in the business. I just know that this is actually for communication purposes. Then it means, for those who are actually phlegmatic and melancholic, or those who are melancholic, I have to be soft. I cannot, outspoken as myself, right? So that's how I see those tests, those type of, personality tests. And DISC is talking about dominance, which is temperament also, right? And intimate, and then stable and conscient conscientiousness, which is, you're a detailed person in that sense. But I can't really see it also how this is actually applies in a very perfect, in a very, very practical and simple in building teams. I know that if I'm a dominant person, I may be actually a good in leading people, right? Because in times of chaos, for example, dominant person will just rise up, because then, can go out. But I guess this is where I found difficulties, that in business is not about the temperaments or the, how do you say it? Yeah, temperament is actually a good word, right? So how do you actually apply those types in business? How does this actually relates to creating a good teams? This is where cannot actually get the I cannot get a grasp on how to actually implement in a much simpler and practical way. Okay? So that's just my take and learning of all this. Now, until a few years back, I think about 3 years back or 4 years back, no, 2017. So that's 3, 4, 7 years, almost 8 years back. I found this test. I found the personality test that was created by Roger James Hamilton, and it's called talent dynamics. It's called wealth dynamics. Talent dynamics is actually just a combination of your wealth dynamics to actually make it the teams. Now, so basically, what wealth dynamics or talent dynamics is focusing on is actually activity, your activity base. So this is based on the flow. So it's still covering your characters in the sense of your temperaments also, but it's it's basing, it's basing the the task on your activity, on how you would usually do something, how would you react to something, right? React to a certain scenario. So it gives you the idea of your personality or also characters, temperament. So you can see yourself also with this test that you are, whether you're a sanguine person, still you can straight away look at that, right? But the good thing is with this test, you can then straight away see how each different characters can actually complement you in a team. And thus, you can straight away see if a group of people of the same personality type flocks together in a team, it may not necessarily be a good thing. Okay? So this is where you know, we have to understand, the importance of knowing your flow, because flow in this case in talent dynamics is talking about activities that you do without much effort by you. It doesn't mean that there is no high efforts, but high energy efforts. In the sense of flow is talking about the path of least resistance. So this is where I like it, the idea of knowing this, because then this test is really focusing on your strength and not on your weaknesses, because by knowing your characters and personality on activities, what activities is actually best for you or roles, you can see and you can then focusing on your strength while try to actually delegate or have people to actually complement you in those area that you are actually not strong. So but it doesn't mean that you can't do other stuff that you are not strong enough, right? So the flow is talking about the energy that you have to put up to actually do something. So this is where it's like a big aha moment for me when I actually learn about the test and do the test myself. This is like a joyful thing for me, knowing this, because I can finally see how my team works, how that I should be actually doing myself, what is the best way for me. We will learn in this, hopefully not long. I'll be going through very quickly about the test, about not the test, about the personality covered in the wealth dynamics, wealth and talent dynamics. But the idea here is that we are looking for flow. Everyone have their own flow. Now, it's like a river. When we're talking about flow, it's like a water, right? It's like a river. So there is a river bed, right? And the flow of the water on the river is determined by the width and the height. Okay, so the more angled the water, the more angled the river, so the water will flow more quicker and you will have more impact at the bottom. So this is the idea, that same idea with in business, right? Money flows from the higher value. Money flows basically from, if you have higher values, right? Now, so the value here, people will pay more according to the value. We will, people will pay according to the value that they perceive. So the higher the value, the more money that they are willing to pay. Okay? So thus, with this idea, with the flow, is the formula of flow is value, value is the height, right? The higher the value, the more money you will make. Okay? And leverage is talking about the width of the rivers. Okay? So the leverage here is increasing. You can increase your flow by two things then, right? By value, by increasing your value, and by increasing your leverage or volume of flow. Okay? The value will increase the speed of the flow, but the leverage will increase the volume of the flow. Okay? So by this formula, we can understand that if we want to increase our flow, then we will need to improve two things: improve the values that we are presenting to our customer, or we are presenting to other people, by, for example, building ourselves as a better leaders, for example, right? So in my business, in the network marketing business, where the business is mainly about managing uh managing people, right? So in managing people, how would you want people to actually look up to you? So to give more flow to your business, to my business, then I have to improve my values. I have to improve the perceived values from other people. So thus, by improving myself as a leader, I'm increasing my value, as my value. So thus, by improving my values, the the speed of the flow, the trust that will be gained by that is actually increasing. And if people trust us more, then it means then we can then have a very fast, the speed, is very easy, right? So when you talk value and then you talk about trust, so people trust you more, then it means the more easier for you to actually convince someone or convert someone to become a member, to become your customer, to buy products from you, and things like that. Okay, so thus, by doing that, increasing the value without doing anything much more, you will increase the speed of your flow. It means then you will receive more, you will then gain more money, right, by doing that, because it's much easier for you to actually convert people, because people look at you and will see value from you, right? So that's how to understand values here. Okay, and the second one is leverage. Leverage is by increasing the volume of flow. So instead of only having one, which is only me, then I can start building the team. By building the team, I'm increasing the flow, increasing the volume of flow. So it's not only me working. Now, in the idea of network marketing, for example, in the idea of network marketing business that I'm building, right? When I first start joining the business, I'm actually on my own. But when you start referring people, promoting and sharing the business, sharing the opportunity, people come on board. People will come become consumers, right? And people will buy. And thus, it's not only you alone anymore. So thus, by doing this, once people come on board, then you will increase the flow because it's now not only you. So flow means leverage of time, leverage of your effort, leverage of your money, right? So thus, by doing this, the more people doing the same thing in your team, the more volume that you will receive. So the idea is simple as that. Okay? But the two things, value and leverage, is important because it will determine your flow. It will determine the speed and how big. So this is why I don't only like it, I love this personality test because it's just click with me. The idea that you need to know who you are, what you do best, what characters you are, temperament, and what activities, roles will determine how you build your business. And without knowing this, you're risking creating and working with people that might not be the best for you. I'm not saying that we should only use this personality test. No, myself, I prefer to actually use talent dynamics combined with the disc. The disc will show people your characters, when you're actually in a stressful moment. Okay? But the flow will show you what activities and roles that are best for you. So I tend to actually combine these two. But because there are so many discs out there already, but no, from my point of view, not many people understand about talent dynamics or wealth dynamics or knows about this. I'm really keen to actually share this, be the advocates to actually share this personality test. And I really am, willing to actually invest with my leaders in building my business. I'm willing to actually invest with, in my leaders doing the test. So then I know what kind of people that, those type of people who are actually going to work with me, that I will then willing to actually, you know, spend my time and invest my time, together and build the organization. Because like previously when I discuss it, whether we like it or not, there is an invisible organization in a network marketing business. Whatever it is the company that you are in, if you're doing it as a professional, network marketing professional, there is an invisible organization, whether you like it or not. And that organization is your group. You need to support them as a leader. You cannot live You cannot throw away that responsibility to the company where that you're in. The company only responsible for the products and how to maintain the business, the operational of the business. But to support your members, to support your business, it is on you. And thus, it is very crucial for us to understand that. Okay? Okay, now let's continue. So, in the wealth dynamics, there are still the four temperaments where we can see how we, what type that we are in. So, it is based on still on the four temperaments, okay, which is dynamo. Dynamo means, it's a intuitive, it's creative person. So those people who falls into this category, those are people who are all usually in the clouds all the time, imagining things, having new ideas all the time. Okay? Dynamo usually people who are very very creative. Not necessarily person who do things and finish things. Those are a very very seldom category. Okay? Not category, very seldom happens for people who are actually have fall into the type of dynamo people, creative people, or innovative people. Now the second one is blaze. Before that we go back. Yeah. So this talent dynamics, wealth dynamics was created by Roger Hamilton based on the Chinese, sort of like an ancient philosophy, of which, Chinese philosophy, of which they use the wood, the fire, the earth, and metal, right? So wood, the dynamo of which is intuitive, right? It's a wood, and it's based like a season also, so we can see it as a season in spring, and you can also see it as a color, which is green. So dynamo creative is spring. It's usually where it's actually everything is actually starting to bloom. It's a a start of a start of a life, right? So that's when spring comes about, right? Where everything starting to actually comes in fruition, right? Going up, right? Going up, growing. That's where dynamo people is, right? And the second one is blaze, where blaze is talking about, in the terms of the Chinese philosophy, is fire, and in the season it's summer. And this is where we talk about people who are extrovert, which is a people based person. So a very sociable person, of which the idea is you magnify other people, so you will be the one that always be in a lot of different people. You like in you like to be in the party. So people who are falls into the category of blaze love to be with people. Now the third one is tempo, and by the name of tempo we can know this is about timing or about sensory. So people who falls into this category are those people who are actually very sensitive about something, uh very sensitive, very emotional, not necessarily emotional like that, but have their, it's the base, the Chinese philosophy is showing as earth, right? As a ground. So you're grounded in that sense. And the season is autumn, where everything, started to actually going preparing for the winter, right? And this is where you can you can see people in this category are those people who are actually very very stable, very very um in the sense of very not laid back, but people who appreciates appreciate um stability in that sense, right? Doesn't like change that much. People in this the extreme of the timing or the tempo, right? Who falls into the extreme of tempo doesn't like change, doesn't like new ideas all the time. So you can see those people in your group most likely, right? You probably know someone who knows, who's like that. Okay, so that's how the tempo people is typically line showing us. Now the last one is steel, and steel, the Chinese philosophical is metal, and this is on the season is winter, and this is the coldest. This is the boring part, if I can say. But to be honest, it's not boring. Yeah, it's not boring. But people who are in this category are the introvert people. So Blaze is the extrovert people, where always be with other people, but still are those introvert people of which they don't like gathering with other people. So those are people who are not sociable at all. Okay, so now we know the four main category or temperament of people, right? In here, of which the dynamo is the creative or intuitive, and the opposite of dynamo is the tempo, of which timing, sensing, grounded, people. While the blaze is the extrovert people, the opposite of that is the still, of where these are actually the introvert people. Now let's go into details, into a quick details about each of this personality. Now, although the main category or the main energy frequency, there are four frequencies, but we need to understand that in every one of us, we will have these four frequencies, these four energies. It's just that we might have a dominant frequencies, and then a less dominant frequencies. Now, in saying that, it means there can be a combination between these two frequencies. So if you can be a combination of dynamo and blaze, for example, or blaze and tempo with steel, or steel with dynamo. So those are the combination personality. Okay, now with the main four frequency, the extreme, which is those who are considered as a creative person, the dynamo energy or frequency is the the main. Then These are the first. This is the first personality that we can look at. It's called creator. By being a creator, you are your main energy is actually the dynamo energy. The rest of those three frequency are very very low. Now, with the dynamo, if you look as I said, right? The dynamo is at the top, and then the tempo is at the bottom, the blaze is on the right, and then still on the left. So thus you can see the dynamo is actually really in between the blaze and still, which is extrovert and introvert. It means as a dynamo you can be an extrovert or you can be an introvert person. So there are introvert dynamo, there are extrovert dynamo. So it doesn't mean that when you're a dynamo person having new ideas all the time, then you are definitely a extrovert. No, it's not. So those introvert person can usually have ideas also. Okay, so thus it's just a matter of which of those cat frequency of the extrovert and introvert, which is blaze and still, is more dominant. Although you are a dynamo, then you will have those two also that will prove to be you're leaning more towards to. Okay, so thus let's get this out of the way. So the creator is, as I said, is the one that have ideas all the time, creating new things all the time, having to start many different things, but creators never, most of the time, never finishes things. Good at starting things, good having an idea in, when he sees things, he can give a new ideas to actually how to actually grow the business, have an idea on how to actually create a relationship, but never really be the one who actually do it and finish it. So that's creator. It doesn't mean that it's actually bad, it doesn't mean that it's actually good. Okay, these are, we are talking about strength here, right? So there will be strength, there will be weaknesses, there will be successes, and there will be losses, right? By having this kind of personality. So this is something that we need to understand well. Now let me just so coming back to the creators. A lot of creators are actually over optimism. They are very optimistic people. Sometimes this kind of optimism can cause issue because they took on too much on themselves. A successful creators have delegated everything except the creative process itself, and they focus on creating new products or new companies or new opportunities, while others take care of the day-to-day businesses. So that's how creators perform. So they are best at creating new ideas, come up with new ideas, come up with new projects, come up with new businesses, come up with new strategies, for example. Now, let's a few example of leaders that have shared the creator profile. One is Richard Branson from Virgin. Second is Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, J.K. Rowling, Jack Ma, Elon Musk, and yeah. So you can learn if you think you're a creative person, that your character will be the first of the eight, which is creator, then you can learn from these people. The second one of the personality is what I call is actually a combination between the two frequency of dynamo, which is creative, and blaze, which is people. And this is called the star. The star is someone who are excellent in promoting things. So stars are excellent promoters and are high in both dynamo and blaze energy. They are quick on their feet and can sometimes seem to dominate the conversations. Stars are best when they use their sparkle to shine the light on others more than themselves. So while the creators set the stage, the star steals the show. Stars get their most valuable feedback in the limelight and find their flow while on their feet. As a result, they are able to evolve their attraction on the fly. And it is their personal magnetism that is their greatest value. So people get attracted to them because of their personality, right? Because a star is usually like the spotlight of the party. Stars are naturals at creating a unique identity for themselves. It is their personal brand that attracts others. By magnifying their brands, they quickly magnify their attraction. Failed stars do not realize this and have been attempting to build their wealth by improving their products, their systems, or their teams, none of which come as naturally. Stars also get frustrated that others can do what they can do, and so make poor managers without the right deputies. So a star is not a good manager. Okay? Successful stars are happy to leverage on the products and platforms of others in order to perform their magic. They lead from the front with their name shining in lights while others count the receipts. So so as I said, right, the stars is those who likes the spotlight, who likes to actually promoting things, who likes to talk and explaining, you know, explaining things in the sense of not really explaining in details like that, but if there is an idea or projects or products, the star will find their values and flow by being out there on the stage and showing this to people by giving them a good presentations. Successful stars who share the same winning formulas in their path to success include Oprah Winfrey, Arnold Schwarzenegger, David Copperfield, David Beckham, and others. So, yeah, the next one is the personality that is the extreme of Blaze, which is what we call the supporter. The supporters are excellent with people and will always be found in the middle of the party. They are strong. They have the strongest blaze energy and often distracted supporting others. Their flow comes from being actively involved in leading others in fun and worthwhile adventures. So basically, as I said, these are the people who are very, very extrovert in that sense, of which these people loves being with other peoples. Many supporters struggles to find the right business to start despite their fabulous network. This is because they are asking themselves what business they should start when they should be asking themselves which value creator they should support. Steve Ballmer has led Microsoft, giving Bill Gates the space to create. And his shares in Bill's company now give him a net worth of over $1 billion. So that's what the supporter can do in a business. So it's not necessarily have to be the business owner of the business, but you know, as a supporter, you are good in leading people, so that's what you need to do. Supporters can also be found in their own businesses, such as in public relation, headhunting, and consulting, where others will pay big bucks for access to the people they know. Where others would take months to find the right person, it often takes supporters just one phone call away. Now, people who are supporters, notable supporters are Jack Welch, the one that I know, Steve Ballmer, okay, and the fourth one. This is the personality where we combine the blaze energy and tempo energy, which what we call the deal maker. So the deal maker is both strong in blaze and tempo energy, so they are down to earth. They have a strong sense of timing and loyalty and always make sure everyone is okay. So these are the people that interest in people and and wanted to make sure that everyone is okay. They are best when connecting people and ideas together for everyone's benefit. So, like stars and supporters, deal makers leverage by magnifying out in front. While stars are high in the sky, deal makers have their ear to the ground, creating value through timing, not innovation, and living in the present. Successful deal makers tend to catch the imagination of the business world with their sweeping gestures that make millions in a moment. Of all the profile, the deal makers rely most on the relationships around them. While a star's value grows as they become less accessible, a deal maker's value grows as they become more accessible. They are constantly on the phone and on the move. They create their wealth by spotting connection in the market. Once the deal is done, the new value created and reach everyone involved. Struggling deal makers are often stuck trying to start a business or caught up in detail, as the idea of willing and dealing, winning and dining just sounds like too much fun. Every successful deal maker has picked a niche from which to attract the best deals in the market. So people who are falls into the deal maker uh, personality is one of them is like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is really a best, the best deal makers out there. He always make deals, creating, connecting, buyer and seller, creating the deal for himself also. Okay, the next one is the one that are strong in the tempo energy of what we call the trader. So the trader have their ear to the ground. They will always know who upset whom and how to keep things fair. Quiet by nature, they will often only share if asked and find their flow in keeping the peace and keeping things on time. Traders are masters of timing out. Unlike deal makers who make their money by bringing assets and resources together, traders will buy and sell the assets and make their money from the spread. Extrovert traders will do this where they can influence the price through hard bargaining. Introvert traders prefer to trade through analysis rather than face to face bidding. And include many of today's successful market traders. While creators need to immerse themselves to create their wealth, traders need to detach themselves. If markets were symphonies, the creators are the composers, while the traders are the conductors. Value comes from waiting for and serving the right wave while others get caught in the currents. So basically, the traders are those people who took their time in doing things, but they are very consistent. And those people who are usually know what actually happening around them or in a group. One of the the leaders that are in this category is Ray Dalio and basically Josh Soros. Okay, the next one is the combination between tempo and steel. And this personality called the accumulator. So accumulators are excellent project managers and researchers, and they are always careful in their work. Their flows, their flow comes from collecting and organizing what's already there. So while traders create wealth by accelerating money flow, accumulators create wealth by decelerating it. Rather than making money by buying and selling off waves, they make money by buying and holding on rising tides. Steady and dependable. If the profiles are compared to a football team, the stars would be the strikers while the accumulators would be the keepers. While the stars are quick to spend, accumulators are quick to save. Accumulators often fail as a result of keeping too much to themselves rather than building the advocates who will network on their behalf. They rarely act on impulse and fail if they have not set the criteria to take action. Accused of procrastinating, they simply need more data to make an informed decisions. But once accumulator connect to the right team, they are quickly uplifted while keeping the team grounded. So they ensure everything are in order, and what needs to be done get done on time. So successful accumulators are happy to remain down to earth, holding the kite strings while others fly. So they are usually the people who are actually behind the scenes, working behind the scenes most of the time. Nobody, uh, not necessarily people who loves the attention or praise, and people who are known people, well-known people who are actually in this category, in this personality profile, share the same is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, Gina Reinhardt from Australia, okay, and the seven personality which is the main of the tempo, who has the biggest energy of tempo. Sorry, not tempo, still. So, and this personality called the Lord, who are great at details. They won't be the loudest voice in the room, but are the best at researching and studying information and coming up with considered decisions. They are best when looking after all the details. As you can see from here, right? The lords love details, and they are known for being thrift. They can squeeze out the cash flow from assets without needing to own the assets. An example is Rockefeller become a billionaire in the oil industry without needing to own a single oil well. Michael become a billionaire in steel without needing to own a single mine. Whether commodity lords or landlords, they have the patience to collect and crank up every cent of the cash flow they find. While the opposite of the Lord, which is supporters, which is an extrovert people, value people over numbers, introvert lords value numbers over people. And they don't have time for politics or niceties. You know, lords have, lords love certainty and hate risk. So they don't like risk. They prefer to keep to themselves, and those who haven't yet found their wealth often fail to see their analytical skills, risk aversion, and need for control as their greatest strengths. Successful lords are unrelenting once they find their niche, with the ability to consistently generate cash flow without the need for either innovation or timing, weathering the market conditions and acquiring the competition until they are dominating entire industries. So the Lord are good in basically controlling the numbers. And those who are in this category, in this personality, is like Larry Page from Google. Who else? Sri Mulyani from World Bank, which is now back in Indo now. And Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller, which is a Standard Oil. Now, the last one, which is the combination between steel and dynamo, which what we call the mechanics. And mechanics are the best at completing things. As a perfectionist, they sometimes seem to take longer to get things done. Their flow comes from taking things apart and finding better ways to put them back together. If creator needs to have their hats in the clouds, which is creative things, then mechanics needs to have their fingers in the pie. While creators are great at starting things, mechanics are great at finishing things. They are perfectionists, which is why they cannot resist finding ways to do things better. While stars twinkle, mechanics tinker. They get hands on with their system and prefer to study how to improve things with their hands dirty. Many mechanics have yet to get going because they are still trying to figure out what businesses to start with. Many mechanics have companies with better system than their competitors, but they have not leveraged this system with stronger products produced by others. Or their business is limited by their autocratic management style and high staff turnover. Successful mechanics remain hands on, fine tuning their system long after they have delegated many other areas of their business to others. This is where they see the greatest result and where they gain the most satisfaction. And people in this category are Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg has built 42 billion net worth through the growth of his company, which now has over 1 billion daily users. Another person in this category is Jeff Bezos and Ray Kroc. Okay, so those are the eight personality that I want to share with you, because this is the importance of us to understand these characters, this personality. Because as you can see, right, all these four different energy and how you actually can be the eight personality in there. You can see what type of personnel temperament you are with the activity, the role that you are best with. And you can, I can see straight away, how then I can work with lords. For example, I've done the test back in 2017, and I have I happen to be a star, of which I love to actually share things, to light things up, to shine things to other people. But I'm not a detailed person, and I need someone who are good in researching, in good in numbers, of which it happens to be my wife. My wife is a lord, which is a very detailed person. So thus, I can see that me and my wife are actually complementing each other. My wife loves all the details, on how to actually, come up with the minute details and work on it and see how we can then improve things, or not, you know, and recording everything. I'm not that kind of person in the past, but as an example, as I said before, right? Although I am a star, doesn't mean that I cannot do all the other stuff that I'm not good with. I'm not strong with, right? And it's proven with my business as an accountant. I've been dealing with accountancy, which is a detailed industry of which you need a detailed characteristic. And I built my characters. I built my detailed characteristics, in for myself. But it takes longer for me to actually do that. It takes more than 13 years. I started my journey in dealing with numbers since I was in uni, when I helped my father, in his business, dealing with the numbers, doing the bookkeeping. Without me realizing it, I've been involving in the numbers, although I'm not actually a detailed person, but I involve in that. It takes time for me to understand and build the love for numbers. I love numbers now, but I'm not saying that I am a detailed person, but I have become a more detailed person. So it shows and proves that although you are categorized as the star, although I am categorized as a star, of which this is a combination energy between blaze and dynamo and blaze, right? But I prove myself that I can become a more detailed person. I can also build, uh, you know, I can build a business in that category of which required, detail. But if I talk about it now, is it the best way for me to actually move forward? Maybe not. If I doing the whole thing again and knowing the talent dynamics, I may not be performing in those industry, right? But knowing myself now in the network marketing industry, I love network marketing industry, and I guess I'm grateful though still, right, with my life, with that that I have now involved and grow in the accounting practice, in the accounting business, and thus get to know about businesses, how to grow businesses, and thus creating a system, having the idea of creating the entrepreneur's roadmap for myself and teaching it for people, having the idea, and then now shining it with educating and coaching other people about the program. This is where I love the most. But understanding the numbers also is the love of my life also now, because I can understand that numbers is important, and and I am very very much excited and get very much energized sharing this with people. But that's me. My strength is sharing with people. When I share with people, I am energized. So hopefully you guys can get the lesson here, the value that I'm sharing here. Know your characters, know your personality. So if you guys wants to actually take the test, I am a certified flow consultant. So you guys can take it with me if you want. You can DM me. It is not a free test. There is a fee associated in doing the test and the consultation that comes with it. But yeah, let me know if you want to know. I will put the link to the test itself, or you can DM me and I can share with you uh, the the link to actually purchase the test and the time to actually do a 1.5 hour consultation with me. Okay, so hopefully you guys are blessed again. I'm pretty sure that you are going to be blessed, and whatever it is, I'm very blessed to actually be able to actually share my journey with you about this and share with you about the talent dynamics and wealth dynamics. So my name is Chris E from Sydney, Australia. Thank you so much for having me sharing with you on tonight's episode. Thank you so much. See ya. Bye bye.